quick. 718.
Hey, hello there. You can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, but I definitely want to piggyback off what that Panamanian woman said when she had mentioned that I be having the same arguments with my mother because my mother's Jamaican. I'm a first American, like in the family, me, my sister, and everything, and I've been trying to explain this to them that if it wasn't for Black Americans now, they crawled so we can be able to walk. And I've been trying to get that in their head, but they think that it's just, we're so divided that they think they have this mindset that they're only either on welfare or other things like that, and they don't work as hard as we do. And I'm trying to explain to them that that's definitely not the case. And also, what she said as well is that regarding Black men attacking Black women, I definitely do think that, especially since the Tory Lanez thing, Black women and Black men have been on social media warring against each other for a while now, and we have to cut that out. We've been kind of going back and forth with each other for a while on the internet.
The gender war, definitely. Definitely agree. So this is the thing, right? Because like my son, his father's Jamaican. He was born and raised here, though. His parents came in from Jamaica. But I mean, I just think, like, first of all, we're all Black. I did not grow up with what I'm starting to see now on social media. Some people say, there's something that Tariq Nasheed sparked, or maybe he just allowed for people to come out and speak their true intentions. But like me being around my son, father, family, I wasn't treated as like an American. Like, no, you're a Black person. The only thing his mother was concerned about, whoever you date, she got to be Black. He could not bring nobody white home.
That's because we were 40.
So yeah. So it's like, I just think that I don't know what it is, what's going on in the water that people are drinking with. It seems like in some spaces it's just tension between Black immigrants and Black Americans, but I'm starting to see it more from younger people. And I think it's because of lack of knowledge, lack of knowing your history, where you come from, and American history here. They don't teach about the Constitution or nothing like that in schools anymore. So I just think it's just ignorance and just lack of knowledge.
I don't even think there's really that much division between like the second generation and the other.
A lot of it,
second generation.
A lot of it is. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I said I don't think that's really that much division between like second generation kids born here and who are like Black immigrants, like the offspring of Black immigrants, right? Who were born here versus like Black American. I don't think there's really that much tension. I mean, school, like, they made that was it. Like they made jokes or something like that. But like, I mean, we all knew we were Black at the end of the day. And I mean, I just don't really see that much, like, I don't really see that much tension or anything like that, or because it seems like they're all united, and it's like they all grew up, had the same experience of being Black in the US. So it's like, what makes me different from you,
Mm-hmm.
Except my parents came here from a different country, maybe. That's it.
Go ahead, Cole.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say that I think a lot of it is intentional. I've heard somebody say that it was done by design that way for us to be divided, because when they came up here and the jobs, and then the employers, whoever, maybe the white people at the time would say that, oh, these Black Americans aren't working because they're lazy and whatever. So they end up taking that information and then telling other people, when really it's because either they weren't getting paid the right amount of money and they were fighting for certain things. So there's a message that's being spread through Black immigrant families, and I could attest this myself, which is why that's the case. It's more of I feel like it's more intentional that's the way it was.
I think I'm going to say something. I think that when people are coming over, people are just they kind of want to almost just look down on someone, right? Like a lot of these, other immigrant groups, there's attitudes, not all, there's attitudes from a lot of these other immigrant groups where they look that there are non-Black, they look down on Black people in general, because I guess it's just the hip thing to people want to always look down on someone, right?
Mhm.
It's just a hip thing to do. It's just to look down on someone.
Well, I agree with the caller. He's actually right. That is set up by design to kind of have friction and tension amongst.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's set up
Black.
by design.
Oh,
You
yes,
don't think
it is.
it's set up?
Oh, yes,
Huh?
oh, yes, it is.
I don't
Because
think it is.
one thing about we forgetting, okay, when Trump was in office, half of welfare and food stamp and other government benefits was cut. And what happened? More African Americans started working more than ever. They was applying for the jobs. They was getting the jobs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Years
I
later,
wanted the caller to respond. Go ahead, caller.
I think because look at the Asians and the model minority, that whole thing. That's what the Asian community, they were told that they were the model minority. This is what you should model and everything like that. So Asians started, like there was an Asian politician that said that Black Americans, they just don't value education. Somebody said that, a politician, I forgot, I think she was in California, and that made huge news because that's the narrative that they're being told by other people. I don't know if it's white people or whatever, but that was the original narrative that
they
that
are.
fed to.
They were. I mean,
No, but the call is correct.
yeah.
That is a thing that has happened, that continues to happen. And they do it by design because like I said, growing up, all of the doctors, dentists, lawyers, or whatever were all Black. And some of them, they were older, even though they may have their background was probably Caribbean, which was not as much, but you started seeing it more and more in the 90s and the early 2000s. But listen, when we're all living together, like we all looked at each other as Black. We didn't look at each other, well, you from here, you from there. I mean, everybody gonna crack jokes when you were in high school or whatever, but in your neighborhood, we all lived amongst each other. We knew what time it was. We knew how this country is set up by design. But at a certain point, it was very intentional, especially when it was the early 2000s. A lot of Black Africans that came over here, they were told in their countries and when they came here, negative stereotypes about Black Americans. If you are not, if your parents or you yourself did not come over here prior to, let's say, 1990 or 1985 or whatever, you probably fell into that negative stereotype, towards Black Americans. That is a real thing. Like but the caller, I do agree with you. That is something real, and that's something that we kind of have to like stop allowing to happen. I would say that's part of like the Willie Lynch syndrome.
It is Willie Lynch syndrome.
I don't think. To be honest,
we gonna talk about one quick story.
Wait, before you go into your story, let me finish up with the caller. Anything else you wanted to say, caller?
Okay, I just wanted to say thank you, and I just wanted to say that I've been thinking about this all day. I felt like you and Shampoo were supposed to be together. That's just my.
Would you be together? Be together how?
Yeah, when I saw the he say, she say so, I had a very interesting connection. Y'all, I'm just saying, y'all got it.
Listen, Shampoo, he has the it factor, so, but his ass busy, so his daughter about to go to college, he has a son, he has a family, so yeah, I mean, but I appreciate you listening. I appreciate your support. Happy New Year.
Okay, no problem.
All right,
you too. All right.
I see you 816. 1 second, so go ahead, Chief.
I was going to say, I give a great example of how Africans are outpassing us. It was a story about a guy who came here and started working at McDonald's as a cook, and about a year later, he owned that restaurant. He owned it, lock, stock, and barrel. Saved enough money and bought the restaurant. Now he owns it. And how many stories we have like this here in this country when Black people are trying to own something? It takes years and years, and they come up with all kinds of excuses. We can't get to it because we Black in this. This person worked at the bottom making what, $5 an hour, or where the pay was. But a year later, he ended up owning that restaurant he worked for a year or two.
Can I respond?
Yeah.
When I listen to these type of conversations, I often ask. A lot of immigrants come here from other countries where the government is oppressing them. They're not able to actually fulfill these things in their country. we have a historical oppression here. We never was allowed to leave our country up under the system and go somewhere else where we would be the immigrants and be forced to stick together to flourish. If you go to Nigeria, you're going to see Nigerians killing each other, all kinds of wicked stuff going on. You go to India, everything that they say we doing here, they're doing to their people there. They get to leave their country and come to a new place and be able to flourish. We never got a chance to go nowhere. So when they come here and they thumb their nose up, I look at them like, who the hell you think you are? We never got a chance to leave. If you took 50,000 African Americans and sent us somewhere else where we was the overwhelming minority, we'd be forced to stick together. We would outdo those people too, with our skill set and everything. So no, it's like I'm looking and I see what's going on. So when you hear them say, because I always ask, well, why you couldn't do that in Senegal? Well, they'll tell you about the government. They'll tell you about crime. They'll tell you about all these things. So don't come here and thumb your nose up and look at me funny, because I can't. Our people, we're not able to go to these other countries where the government is allowing us to come in and flourish. They do that. America does that. And they do it for a reason. So it's just not as simple as people make it.
I have two questions for you, George. I was going to say, Nigeria is a very Nigeria's a pretty violent. Nigeria's a pretty violent country.
Yes.
A lot of the reasons why I'm going to even just admit this, being Nigerian myself, like a lot of the reasons why a lot of third world countries are failing is because people aren't practicing good life skills, right? You should not have more kids than you can afford, right? You should not have like 10 kids on like a very small amount of money. All right. We know this is probably one of the reasons why people are poor all over the world again, is because they have more children than they can afford. Right. What need is there to have 10 kids when you really should only be having 2 kids? And that's probably one of the reasons why, Nigeria isn't, as wealthy or economically
No, Nigeria is very wealthy.
No, well, yeah, and the average standard of living for the average person isn't.
No, they just don't provide capitalism resources like America do, because you just have the have-nots and the haves, and that's it. You have no middle class in Nigeria, and I think that's because of corrupt government. But that's
part of it. That's part of it. But it is, a lot of it is due to people just not being able to they're not practicing good life skills, in my opinion. That's it. And the second thing is, look, why would they want, it doesn't make sense, right? They let these immigrants come in and let them flourish, right? Buy McDonald's and let them after a year buy McDonald's, set up all these businesses and start. Why would they not want Black Americans to do that? Is there some type of vendetta there for them not wanting Black Americans to do it? But they let immigrants, people from different countries who may be a burden on them, they don't know if these people are really going to be that successful in this country, come in and do that. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'm gonna make sense to it, but
yeah,
you got to hear it.
Joshua, do you agree with that?
I've noticed there are reasons.
Yes.
Wait, hold up. Oh, so anyway, go. You can go.
Okay, here's what I'm saying. Okay, for the last 50 years, I've been dealing with a lot of criminal law. Okay, and not all Black people, not all white people, not all brown people, not all yellow people, not all red people. But there is a perception that American Black people, there's going to be a high probability or possibility that if you involve them in something,
yep,
they are not going to deliver with great enthusiasm. I used to hear it on the bench. Didn't the court give you an order, young man, that you were supposed to do that? would you be able to explain to the court why it should not lock you back up? Yo, Yana, I got too much pride to be flipping no buggies for no Mickey D's. Oh, well, do you have too much pride to be sitting on a bunk in a jail cell? What that got to do with it? My bitches and my hoes take care of me. Why I gotta go do something like that? Because I'm trying to put in you a work ethic. You don't have a work ethic. Now, one of the things that I had to deal with and deal with often in terms of rehabilitation is you had to impose the fundamentals on what are nominally adults, and these fundamentals should have been put in their heads when they were 3 and 4 years old, but it wasn't. They weren't, rather. So hard work, doing a good job, not trying to coast, and then recognizing it for what it is. The slave didn't have an incentive to work hard other than not being whipped. And if he didn't get whipped, he perceived his job was to do as little as possible. See, that stuff slides down. So I know, like here for the last 20 years, I've tried to hire as many Black firms as I can, and I have headaches, because the Black hirees, they just don't reliably perform the job. But you get somebody else and they do the job. You might have to explain it to them. But look at you crazy. You're hired to do this. Why are you leaving that over there? Huh? Why am I supposed to pick it up? Because you're getting paid to pick it up. How come you can't do it? Because I'm paying you. Got it?
Don't judge him, Joe Brown.